Boxing Truth here, back with another video. Make sure to smash that like button, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Alright, let's talk about the fight of the weekend. And it's not Errol Spence versus Yordenis Ugas. I'm sorry, I just have very little interest in that fight. I already know how it's going to play out. It's either Spence by a gift decision or Spence by a legitimate decision. That's it. That's how that fight's going to go. Ugas has to knock Spence out to get the win, which is why I'm not interested in the fight. It's too political for me. I don't like predetermined matches. I don't like predetermined scorecards. I don't like political fights. And that fight has everything involved. It stinks. Ugas really is not going to get a fair shake. He got a gift against Manny. You really think he's going to get a gift against Spence? One of PBC's bread and butters? No. So let's talk about the fight of the weekend. Radzhab Butaev against Eimantas Stanionis. Very intriguing welterweight clash between top contenders in the welterweight division. Now, Stanionis is loyal to the PBC, man. I gotta give it to him. This fucking idiot actually turned down a shot against Yordenis Ugas, a beatable champion for his first world title shot. And instead, he kissed the ring. He played, he was the actual trooper here. He actually turned down the world title shot and instead to fight this fucking guy. Radzhab Butaev, undefeated top contender in the welterweight division, steadily rising, on the edge, knocking on the door for a world title opportunity. The winner will eventually get a chance to fight the WBA champion, whoever that is, this past Saturday. And it's actually guaranteed in writing. I really wonder how much money Al Haymon pays Stanionis to step aside. It has to be a fucking fortune for him to turn down a world title shot in order to fight this fucking guy. And Butaev, not a guy you just willingly fight out of the blue, unless there's something at stake, but Stanionis had much bigger reward at stake, a world title shot, and he actually turned it down. They must have paid him a fortune. I mean, how loyal can you be in order to prevent Errol Spence from looking bad and dodging Terrence Crawford? Because that's the reality. Spence doesn't want to fight Crawford coming off eye surgery and a significant layoff. So instead, he's taking the more beatable champion in Yordenis Ugas and is selling it as a unification fight, but it just doesn't pique my interest. I saw Ugas get a gift against an old Manny Pacquiao, and now he's in pretty deep in order to try to get a decision against Errol Spence as the B-side in Texas. But yeah, this fight is very interesting. It's between two undefeated contenders between Butaev and Stanionis. Stanionis, he's the guy coming into this fight already having lost to Butaev twice in the amateurs. This fight is a little tricky though. I've been kind of back and forth because it's gonna be hard to bet against Stanionis because he has the look. I think he has more backing with the PBC. He's a PBC guy. Butaev, I think he's represented by Kornilov. I think he's managed by Kornilov, and they're working with PBC. But I don't think he's truly their fighter. He's just a guy that's getting fights with them on a fight by fight basis. But Stanionis, he's a part of these cats. He was loyal. He bowed down to Al Haymon. He stepped aside. But unless he got a payday out of it, most likely. But yeah, this fight could go. It's a risky fight to bet on. It can go either way. I don't know if Butaev, can he get a decision against Stanionis? Is it going to be fair? That's a question that has to be asked. Even though Stanionis is the B side in this fight, I think he's the guy that's being pushed more by the PBC, and also they've been building him up for a lot longer. And Butaev has been, he actually just dispatched one of their contenders in Jamal James, so they're trying to get back at him with this fight against Stanionis. But let's look at the odds here. Let's look at the odds. All right, let's look at the odds here. It's been changing steadily the last few days. When this line first opened up, it was pretty much dead even. Then as time went on, Batua was becoming a slight favorite, and then a few days ago, money was coming in on Stanionis, and he was a slight favorite. But now, sharp money late is coming in on Batuev, and there's a reason for that. Batuev, I believe, is the overall better fighter. Stanionis brings a style that I don't feel is going to trouble Batuev all that much. Batuev got beat unofficially. Well, it was official at one point by Alexander Vesputin, another rising contender who is also knocking on the door on a world title opportunity in the welterweight division. But Vesputin is a way different fighter. He's more of a fleet-footed boxer, uh, more of an angle guy, movement, footwork. It's a completely different style to what Batuev is going to see in Stanionis. Stanionis is an aggressive fighter. I would say a pressure boxer puncher. Not the biggest of power, but he likes the. He's a solid guy. He lands solid punches. You know, he's got decent power. But the reason why I went against Stanionis in this fight, I bet Batuev, but you know, it's a risky play here. Let's keep in mind here, it's a risky play, especially if it goes to decision. Batuev could get robbed. The reason why I went against Stanionis is because he hasn't wowed me in his career thus far. He's a solid guy, but I don't think he's an elite guy. I don't even think Batuev is elite either, but I think he's B plus, almost on the verge of being elite, but more of a B plus guy. And I think Stanionis is a B level guy, just under B plus. Stanionis just hasn't wowed me. You know, going the distance with Thomas Delorme is never a good thing, especially a washed Delorme or Delorme who's been stopped several times prior to that. And you got to do a demolition job on a Thomas Delorme, and if you can't do that, and you have a somewhat competitive fight against him, then how good really are you? How good are you really if you can't even wipe out a chinny Delorme? So that's a red flag there when it comes to Stanionis. Stanionis, he hasn't beaten a young, fresh guy in his prime yet, or a hungry guy. He's faced off against faded guys, fringe contenders coming off knockout losses, recycled opponents, the Luis Colazos, faded guys, and he hasn't really been all that impressive against them. Batuev, on the other hand, he's been in some real fights against young, fresh competition, undefeated guys, hungry guys like Vesputin, which was a very competitive, close fight that was overturned. Batuev officially lost a close decision to Vesputin, but then it was overturned because Vesputin tested positive, and it was changed to a no contest. He's beaten Jamal James, who was a top hungry contender in the welterweight division. So he's been in the Lions Den. He's faced off against better opposition overall, in my opinion. I think he's been in tougher fights. He's been in realer fights, and I think he has the more impressive resume. Batuev is more of a boxer puncher. Throws really good combinations, throws really good punches to the body, has a good right hand. And I think he's just been a little bit more impressive overall in his career. And right now he's riding as a minus 125 favorite. And I got to ride with Batuev, but this is a risky bet here. All right. If it goes the distance, Stanionis, I believe, is a guy PBC wants to win. So you have to keep that in mind. Is this fight going to go to the decision? I believe it will. Both guys are decent punchers. Both guys have aggressive styles. So there's a possibility there could be a knockout, but I believe both guys are sturdy, young, fresh, in their late 20s. They're still hungry, so I expect a distance decision fight here. So there's a few ways you could play this. You can bet the over, but it's a risky over. It's very high. This does have a chance to end a knockout because of both guys' styles. They're aggressive fighters. You could do Batuev by decision, but the odds are high here because Batuev may get robbed. Stanionis by decision is a solid play here, because he's the guy PBC I believe wants to win. The draw, is also a very big possibility. I wouldn't doubt that line. So there's a few ways to go the distance. You can play with it. You can do the over. You could do Batua by decision. You could hedge it so many different ways. If you want to be a little bold, Stanionis by decision if you sense a robbery. But yeah, tread very carefully with this bet. But there's plenty of ways you could play it. But I got Batua by decision in a very good fight. Stanionis is solid, but I don't think he's elite. Batua is just a little bit better in every area. But yeah, let me know what y'all think. Who you got for the fight of the weekend? Batua versus Stanionis. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.